I'm Jonas Stoltzfus from Perry County, Pennsylvania. My wife and I operate a small beef farm. I grew up as an Amish kid. Ich kann Deutsch besser mit der Westkunde. I have many Amish friends, small farmers. I want to convey to you, as USDA officials, that I'm hearing a lot of very bad stories. These are documentable stories about what USDA is capable of when someone doesn't toe their line specifically. And that, like Daryl Dickinson said, that thing called mandatory scares the bejesus out of me. When a story like a sheep producer up in the New England states who has gone through all the loops, and she jumped through all the hoops to bring in a specific flock of milk-producing sheep. She quarantined them on the proper USDA island. She followed all the regulations. And she wakes up one morning at 5 o'clock to see a group of USDA enforcement officials there to gather up her flock and take them away and slaughter them without any reason. The flock wasn't diseased. There was no reason for this. This is why we don't trust your enforcement capacities. When the Wild Boar Reserve down in Virginia wakes up one morning about 5 o'clock and there's a half a dozen SUVs out there towing trailers with 4 wheels behind them, SWAT teams from the USDA there to slaughter all his supposedly sick hogs with pseudorabies. They keep the man and his wife incognito for most of the day. Some of the rumor says that some of those slaughtered wild boar went to the local butcher shop to get slaughtered for personal use by the USDA employee. That's not a fact necessarily, it's just a rumor. The fact is that it happened. These boars were hunted down and slaughtered. Again, no reason, none at all. When this little family out in Washington that transported a bit of the milk across to Oregon, they had their 6 cows impounded, and the family was forced to pay for the impounding and also the cost of keeping those animals. They couldn't even have their own milk. Another example of the enforcement capacity of our beloved federal government. We don't trust you. We don't think that you have the capacity for compassion. We don't think you have the capacity for looking at us from our point of view. We don't want NAIS. What is there about no that you do not understand? Thank you very much.
You did good.
Hi, my name is Liz Reitzig, and I am Secretary of the National Independent Consumers and Farmers Association. Our position on NAIS is pretty simple. We will not comply. I had the opportunity to represent America's small independent farms at the Secretary's roundtable discussion on April 15th. At the end of that meeting, Secretary Stoltzfus expressed concern at the lack of credibility that the USDA had that was coming through with people's testimonies. Well, Secretary Stoltzfus, one way that you can regain a small shred of credibility is to completely abandon this program.
Yes.
Also at the end of that meeting, the Secretary assured us that he wanted to hear from American small farmers. The following week, the National Independent Consumers and Farmers Association met in Washington, D.C., and we gave the Secretary an opportunity to meet with some of America's sustainable small farmers in Washington. I was organizing that meeting. However, I was informed that the Secretary was too busy returning from Italy. The Secretary of the United States Department of Agriculture was too busy returning from Italy to meet with a group of America's small, sustainable farmers. I'm still waiting to hear when he's willing to meet with us so that we can tell him how NAIS would impact us. So, Secretary Stoltzfus, if you are listening to this, please respond to that directly. We are still waiting to talk to you. Thank you.